How much does it cost to keep a German Shepherd or 2 German Shepherds? I just calculated our 2020 total cost of having Enzo and Lotus. The short answer is I could have a much nicer car. Welcome to the channel. My name is Will. This is Lotus. That's Enzo. I don't know if you can see Enzo or not. I started this last year. This is the second year I've done this. Basically, as I'm gathering our taxes, going through all of our finances, I keep a running tally of how much we actually spent on the pups. That's what we're gonna go over in today's video. Riley, you're pretty much a minimum amount, to be honest. Before we get into the numbers real quick, I do want to give you guys a Beanie update for those of you who have pre-ordered and let you know that they are in fact in production as we speak. So hopefully we'll have those soon. I'll keep you guys updated and let you know what's going on. I still need to email all the people who purchased teal. So if you did purchase a teal one, I will email you and let you know your options. If you want a refund or if you want the new color, whatever, I'll give you your options. There's a few different options. If you still haven't pre-ordered a beanie and you want to get one, the link is still below. Just know that the teal color, if it still says teal, it's actually gonna be more of a light pink. I'll get that updated before this video goes up though. Let's get into the 2020 costs, as is apparently a tradition now, as I did this last year. And we get this question all the time, how much do they cost? Unlike last year where I just kind of had like the numbers. This time I actually took time as I was going through and gathering tax stuff and paid attention like what the actual expenses were and broke it into a few different categories. Let's look at 2019 first. So not this past year, but the previous year, as I mentioned. If you see me looking down, it's because I have my notes here. So our total cost in 2019 was $8,525.72 or $710.47 per month. Yeah, that includes the FJ. So obviously, most people aren't gonna buy a dedicated pup truck, but that, in our case, is actually just for them. The wifey has a car, I have a car. No stealing. So the FJ was bought purely once we had Enzo. At the time, we had 2 cars. They were both getting a little too small to be carting him around, plus the fur and everything. I like to have a clean car, so it made more sense for me to just buy him a separate car that he would fit better into. But I understand that not everybody's going to buy their pup a car, or you may just live in a place where you don't even own a car, period. To break that out separately, the total cost without the FJ included was $3,665.72 or $305.47 a month. Now, again, those were the 2019 totals. So we're gonna go over 2020, which unfortunately has risen. Like I said, in 2019, when I made those numbers, I just went back to the old video and grabbed the numbers. I didn't break them down into categories. This time I actually took some time and broke it into categories. So let's go over the categories. We have food and snacks, which was $2,453.38. Now I say food and snacks, there could be a handful of toys in there. Basically those were like PetSmart or Pet Store receipts. I didn't necessarily want to go through and like actually itemize the receipts. Most of the time it's food, but they do get a few toys. We don't honestly buy them that many toys. The wifey does still sometimes, but because you guys are so generous and you guys send them so many toys that we don't buy them that many. But I'm sure there's still a few $100s worth of toys in there. Just what we needed, more pup toys.
I heard you.
I said it real loud. The next category is CBD oil. So this is for Lotus. We don't do the CBD oil anymore and we actually stopped at mid-year, but that total was $396.71. We now do a trazodone prescription, which I don't think I actually calculated. It might be under vet visits though, actually, I think is what it is. The next category is Casper Beds. I made them their own category because it was $477 for 2 Casper Beds. That's their 2 beds that you see them laying on. That's not the cots that you see in the garage. That's their actual beds. $200+ per bed is extreme. I'm not denying that. However, I will say that, you know, Enzo is coming up on 5 years old. Lotus is coming up on 3. We've owned multiple dog beds. And this is the first one that's ever made it a year, no problem. The wifey did just order some new covers for them. The current covers are still fine. They're still functional. There's no holes or anything. They're just starting to wear down and stuff. So we wanted to go ahead and swap those out. We're still gonna keep the old ones. We'll still use them. But then like when we take them off and wash them, we can just go ahead and put the other cover on and we don't have any downtime. So that'll be nice. The next category is vet visits. Now, I don't feel like we had anything too crazy last year, but we still managed to do $1,281.92. I know some of that is the trazodone, so there's probably $200 or $300 for the partial year of trazodone in that total. I'll try to remember to maybe separate that out for next year, but that was under vet visits. Grooming, $360. That's not counting any time we wash them ourselves or anything like that. That's just actually going to the groomers. And then the FJ, because I wouldn't have it without them. If something happened tomorrow, like, I don't even want to play that game, but like, if we didn't have them tomorrow, I don't need an FJ tomorrow. So I would get rid of it. $4,860. That includes the car payment and insurance. That does not include gas. It's not exactly the most fuel efficient vehicle, but we would use gas regardless of what kind of car we were driving. That one just probably gets a little bit less gas mileage than if we were to buy like a Honda Civic. So if you haven't been calculating at home, the grand total for 2020 is, drum roll or lick, $9,829.71. 2019 was $85.25 and this year is $98.29. So we've gone up about $1,300, a little over $100 per month. Without the FJ, it is $4,969.21 or $414.10 per month. Regardless, with the FJ or without, I don't know if I gave the with the FJ monthly total. I mean, you could obviously just do the math, but it was $819.10. That number is bigger than our mortgage, and the $400 number is pretty sure that's like it's higher than any of our car payments. You stressing? You stressing because you cost so much money? Yeah, I'm stressing too. The other thing I want to do, now that we've gone over the grand totals, is I wanted to ask you guys for donations. No, I'm just kidding. I want to talk about some notes. So I work from home, so you'll notice that we don't have any costs for doggy daycare or dog walkers or anything like that. So that may be stuff that you have to consider if you're looking to get one. We don't have pet insurance. We've looked into it, and the monthly premiums and what they cover, financially, it just doesn't really make sense. Makes more financial sense for us to just pay out of pocket. The groomers were closed for part of 2020. I think they only got like 2 grooming appointments each last year. They're gonna be going to their first one hopefully here in the next week or so. Riley's gonna go as well. Maybe for next year I'll factor out the cat stuff, but I don't know, it'd be kind of hard because it mostly just comes up as pet and everything, but maybe I'll try. Honestly though, a cat she doesn't cost much. And as I mentioned before, the vet visits, there was nothing too crazy that I can recall happening. So like this year, we've already had to go to MedVet, which thankfully wasn't that expensive, but there was nothing like that in 2020. I suspect that'll go higher this year, mostly because of the trazodone. And finally, as I've mentioned multiple times in this video, you don't have to buy them a pup truck, but I will say it makes life so much easier, especially if you're a little OCD around your cars. You know, I wouldn't say like I'm a clean freak, a little bit of a germaphobe, but not like a clean freak, like everything has to be perfect, but I like my cars to be really clean. Even though I don't like that the FJ is often messy, I can deal with that a lot more knowing that my car is clean so that I can get in my car or the wifey's car and it be clean. Plus, it's just so much easier to just be able to toss them in and stuff. And, you know, if you're using your car for other, like I know 2020, people aren't really hanging out with other people, but you know, going forward, you can't put them in the backseat of any car for any length of time and not have to vacuum your backseat before somebody's gonna wanna sit back there. So it just really just makes life a whole lot easier, especially you see that we go places every day. So it just makes more sense for us to have a dedicated pup truck. I hope you guys find this information useful if you're looking to get a German Shepherd. Obviously we have 2. You could, for the most part, cut this in half. I'd like to say that, you know, hey, as you get more, the cost kind of spreads out and, you know, stuff. And it's like, no, it really doesn't. You got to have 2 crates, got to have 2 beds, got to have multiple toys, got to have 2 leashes, got to have 2 harnesses. You know, I mean, I don't have to have 2 FJs at least. So, I mean, that's something, but it's going to be costly. Obviously, while I don't think we live some sort of, well, I know we don't live some sort of lavish lifestyle, we do prioritize them. They're like our kids, you know, we spoil them. I'm not going to deny that, but I don't think you would necessarily be doing it for a whole lot cheaper. It's just kind of the nature of the breed. You know, if something's bothering them, you got to take them to the vet. You got to have the proper food. You can't be buying cheap food. You can't be skipping vet appointments and grooming appointments and things like that. It's just like if you want to buy a nice car, you know, you got to be able to afford all the maintenance and everything else that comes with it, which is why we don't have a nice car, because you got to pay for them. That's why I drive a Mitsubishi. Thank you guys. I will say that if you're a person who, doesn't work from home and such, you're gonna have extra costs like dog walkers or doggy daycare or something like that. So it's very likely that your cost could actually be more than ours. So keep that in mind and just be prepared for that if you are looking to get one. If you have any other questions or anything about German Shepherds, we have tons of videos. You can check them out. Leave any questions or comments below. We do our best to answer them all. Otherwise, appreciate you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. You hear mom up there? Yeah. Later, guys. Are you getting up? Lotus, you getting up? Come on, Lotus. Come. There we go. I just calculate. You can put that at the end with the outtakes.